The security camera recorded everything. A pregnant woman in an emerald gown, her husband's fist twisted in her hair, the drag, the pull, 23 marble stairs. She landed on the first floor landing, curled around her belly, shielding the baby she had been protecting for 7 months. Her millionaire husband straightened his cufflinks, stepped over her body, and said 5 words that would seal his fate. Clean yourself up. Guests arrive soon. He did not notice the security guard watching from the shadows, the guard whose hands were trembling, whose jaw was clenched so tight his teeth could crack. Because that guard was not just any employee, he was her brother, a Navy SEAL, and he had been waiting 3 weeks for exactly this moment. What happens next will shock you, enrage you, and ultimately leave you with something you did not expect to feel: hope. This is the story of Cassandra Thornton, a woman who lost everything, a woman everyone underestimated, a woman who discovered that the person sent to protect the Whitmore estate was actually there to dismantle it. Stay with me until the very end, because the moment she realizes who that security guard really is, it changes everything. And the revenge? It is not what you expect. It is so much better. Her body struck the marble landing before her scream ever reached her throat. The emerald silk of her gown coiled around her legs. Her hands flew immediately to her belly. 7 months pregnant, the baby. Protect the baby. Cassie Thornton landed on her side, not her stomach. Thank God, not her stomach. Above her, Preston Whitmore III smoothed his tuxedo jacket. He ran a hand over his silver-streaked hair. A clump of her auburn curls was still tangled around his Rolex. Clean yourself up, he said. His voice held no emotion, no urgency, nothing at all. Guests arrive in 2 hours. His Italian leather shoes clicked against the marble as he walked away. Each footstep echoed through the grand foyer of the Whitmore estate. 20,000 square feet of old money and even older secrets. Cassie pressed her palm against the cold stone floor. Her scalp burned where he had grabbed her, where he had twisted, where he had yanked until she lost her footing at the top of that sweeping staircase. The chandelier above her glittered. 15,000 Swarovski crystals. She had counted them once during a dinner party, something to focus on while Preston charmed the guests and crushed her hand beneath the table. "Ma'am?" A voice, male, concerned. Cassie turned her head. A security guard was crouching beside her. Dark hair, strong jaw, a scar above his left eyebrow. His name tag read Mike Turner. "Ma'am, you should see a doctor." His hands reached toward her. Gentle. Too gentle for a security guard. His eyes moved over her with trained precision. Medical training? Maybe. Military? Something stirred in the back of her mind, a memory she could not quite pull into focus. "I'm fine." The words came automatically. She had said them so many times. "I tripped." "You did not trip." His voice was low. Only she could hear it. Cassie looked at him then, really looked, the way he carried himself. The controlled stillness, the scar. She knew that scar. She had given him that scar when they were children. A baseball bat, an accident, 15 stitches. Her breath caught in her chest. No, it could not be. He was deployed somewhere classified. He had missed her wedding because of it. "Let me help you up," Mike Turner said. His fingers wrapped around her elbow. Warm, familiar. The baby kicked. Hard, like a reminder. Focus. Survive. 7 more weeks. Cassie let him help her to her feet. Her ankle throbbed. Her hip ached. Her scalp still screamed. But she stood straight. She had learned to stand straight through worse. "Thank you," she said. "Of course, ma'am." He released her arm, stepped back, returned to his professional distance. But his eyes lingered on her face for 1 moment too long. Cassie turned toward the bathroom. Each step sent pain shooting through her ankle. She did not limp. Limping invited questions. Questions invited lies. Lies invited exhaustion. The bathroom door closed behind her. She pressed her back against it. Her hands trembled as she reached for the light switch. The mirror showed her the truth. Blood matted her hair near her left temple. Not much, enough to notice. A bruise already forming on her cheek from where she hit the railing. More bruises on her upper arms, finger-shaped, from when he grabbed her, from when he twisted her around. She turned on the faucet, cold water. She splashed her face, watched pink swirl down the drain. Her phone buzzed in her clutch. She had left it on the counter before going upstairs to change. Before Preston found her, before he decided she was taking too long, she dried her hands, picked up the phone. One text message. Unknown number. I see you, Cass. I'm here. Don't give up. Her blood turned to ice. Only one person in the entire world called her Cass. Only one person had called her that since their parents died 8 years ago. Marcus, her brother, her Navy SEAL brother. The one who was supposed to be somewhere on the other side of the world. The one she had not spoken to in over a year, because Preston monitored her calls, checked her emails, cut her off from everyone who might see the truth. Her hands shook as she typed a reply. Who is this? The response came immediately. Someone who never stopped watching over you. Cassie pressed the phone against her chest. Her heart pounded so hard the baby kicked in response. Marcus was here, in this house, disguised as a security guard. Why? How? How long? The questions spun through her mind. But beneath them, something else was rising. Something she had not felt in 3 years. Hope. A knock at the bathroom door made her flinch. Cassandra? Eleanor Whitmore's voice, sharp as shattered glass. Preston says you fell again. We need to discuss your clumsiness before the guests arrive. Clumsiness. The family word for what Preston did. Cassie deleted the text messages, cleared her history, tucked her phone back into her clutch. One moment, Eleanor. She looked in the mirror again, applied concealer to the bruise on her cheek, adjusted her hair to cover the blood, smoothed the emerald silk over her belly. Armor on, mask in place, perfect Whitmore wife, ready for display. She opened the door. Eleanor stood in the hallway, 65 years old. Silver hair swept into a flawless chignon, pearls at her throat, eyes like a shark scenting blood. You look pale, Eleanor said. Her gaze swept over Cassie with practiced assessment. Try not to faint during the appetizers. The Hendersons are coming. They already believe Preston married beneath his station. Cassie smiled. The smile she had perfected over 3 years. The smile that concealed everything. I would never embarrass the family, Eleanor. See that you don't. Eleanor turned and walked away. Her heels clicked against the hardwood. The same rhythm as her son's. Cassie placed her hand on her belly. The baby moved. A soft, gentle roll. Reassurance. 7 more weeks. She had been counting down since the first time Preston hit her. The shove in the kitchen 6 months after the wedding. She had burnt the roast, his hand across her face. He cried afterward, apologized, blamed his father, promised it would never happen again. She believed him. She was so naive, so desperate to believe, so completely alone. The gala began at 7 o'clock. Cassie descended the grand staircase on Preston's arm. The same staircase, the same marble, the same chandelier that had witnessed her fall. Preston looked at her and smiled. That charming smile that had won her over at a charity event 4 years ago. The smile that made everyone believe he was flawless. Smile wider, he whispered. His fingers dug into her elbow. You look like someone died. Something did, she thought. The real me. She died a long time ago. The guests arrived. The Hendersons, the Carmichaels, the Worthingtons. Old money, old connections, old blindness to what happened behind closed doors. Cassie played her part. She laughed at jokes that were not funny. She accepted compliments on her pregnancy glow. She pretended not to notice when Preston's hand pressed too firmly on her lower back. Across the room, Mike Turner stood at his post, watching, waiting. Their eyes met for 1 second. He gave the smallest nod. Cassie looked away. Her heart raced. Her palms sweated. But for the first time in 3 years, the fear was not the only thing she felt. Something else was rising beneath it, something that felt almost like strength. The grandfather clock in the foyer struck midnight. The last guest had finally gone. Cassie stood in the kitchen eating saltine crackers straight from the box, her only safe space. Preston never came to the kitchen. Cooking was beneath him. Eating was purely functional. The baby moved, hungry. Always hungry these days. You did well tonight, Cassie spun around. Eleanor stood in the doorway, arms folded, expression unreadable. Thank you, Eleanor. The Hendersons commented on your poise. Considering your background, it was impressive. Your background, code for your dead parents left you nothing. Your teaching salary was a joke. You were nobody before my son chose you. I try to represent the family well. Eleanor stepped closer. Her perfume filled the kitchen. Chanel No. 5. The same scent Cassie had come to associate with criticism and contempt. Preston mentioned you fell before the gala. Yes, I was rushing. You seem to fall often. Cassie's stomach tightened. Pregnancy affects balance. Eleanor studied her. Something flickered in those cold eyes. Recognition? Complicity? It was impossible to tell. My husband was difficult, Eleanor said quietly. Graham had expectations, high standards. Sometimes I disappointed him. A chill moved down Cassie's spine. Was Eleanor admitting what Cassie had long suspected? That the abuse ran through the generations? Perhaps if you were more careful, Eleanor continued, these accidents would not happen. Not admitting. Excusing. I will try to be more careful. Eleanor nodded, satisfied. She turned and left without another word. Cassie set down the crackers. Her appetite was gone, her hands trembling. She knew, Eleanor knew, had probably known since the very beginning. Had probably watched the same patterns play out in her own marriage. And instead of helping, she blamed the one being hurt. Because that was easier. Because it preserved the family image. The kitchen door opened again. Mike Turner stepped inside. He checked behind him, confirmed they were alone. We have 3 minutes before camera rotation, he said quietly. I disabled the audio in this room yesterday. Cassie stared at him. Up close, without the shock of her fall, she could see it clearly now. The shape of his eyes, the set of his jaw, the way he stood with his weight on his left foot. Marcus? He did not smile. His expression stayed controlled, but something softened in his eyes. Hey, Cass. 3 years of distance collapsed in an instant. 3 years of isolation. 3 years of believing she had no one. How are you here? How long? Delia called me 6 months ago. Said something was wrong, but you would not talk to her. Delia. Her best friend from college. The one whose calls Cassie had stopped returning because Preston checked her phone. Because every conversation became an interrogation afterward. She was worried. I requested leave. Started surveillance, gathered evidence. Evidence? Marcus pulled out his phone. Showed her a video file. The timestamp read 3 hours ago. The image showed the top of the staircase. Preston's hand in her hair. The drag, the fall. Cassie watched herself tumble down those marble stairs. Watched herself curl around her belly. Watched Preston walk away without checking whether she was still breathing. I have documentation going back 3 weeks, Marcus said. Medical records that Delia accessed. Police reports that went nowhere because Graham has connections. Statements from household staff who are willing to testify if you press charges. Marcus, you do not understand. He will kill me if I try to leave. He will kill you if you stay. The words landed like physical blows because she knew they were true. Had known for months. The violence was escalating. The pregnancy had not stopped it. It had made things worse. I have seen the pattern, Marcus continued. His voice cracked slightly. Escalation, isolation. Pregnancy is the most dangerous time. You know the statistics, Cass. You used to volunteer at that shelter. She did know. Before Preston cut her off from everything, she had volunteered at the Women's Crisis Center, had seen the cycles, had heard the stories, had never once imagined she would become one of them. What is your plan? She whispered. Safe house already set up, legal team on standby. Victor Sullivan, a lawyer who left the Whitmore firm last year. He knows things, financial irregularities, tax fraud, enough to bring down the entire family if we move correctly. And the baby? Especially because of the baby. Marcus's jaw tightened. I will not let my niece grow up watching her father beat her mother. Niece, he said niece. Somehow he already knew. The ultrasound tech let it slip, he explained. Preston wanted a boy, had them checked 3 times. They confirmed female. Cassie touched her belly. Her daughter. The daughter Preston would resent, would blame, would eventually hurt. I cannot decide right now. I know, but Cass, it has to be soon. Tonight was not random. He is losing control. The stress from work, the investigation into his company's finances. He is unraveling, and you are his outlet. A door closed somewhere in the house. Footsteps in the hallway. Marcus stepped back. His posture shifted. Back to Mike Turner. Back to anonymous security guard. Think about it, he said in his professional voice. If you need medical attention, please do not hesitate to contact emergency services. He slipped out through the service entrance. Cassie stood alone in the kitchen, her mind racing, her heart pounding. Marcus was here. He had a plan. He had evidence. For the first time in 3 years, leaving was no longer just a fantasy she entertained at 2 a.m. It was real, possible, terrifying. Her phone buzzed. Preston, come to bed now. She read it 3 times. Analyzed the punctuation. The period after now. Anger or command? She climbed the stairs. The same stairs. Her body remembered the fall with every single step. Her muscles tensed, her breathing shortened. The master bedroom door was open. Preston sat on the edge of the bed, still in his tuxedo pants, shirt unbuttoned, a glass of whiskey in his hand. Close the door. She did. Lock it. She did. He did not look at her. His eyes stayed on the amber liquid in his glass. My father called during the party. The federal investigation is expanding. They are looking at the foundation accounts now. Cassie said nothing. This was not a conversation. It was a monologue. Her job was to listen. $17 million, Preston continued. That is what they believe is missing. 17 million that funded our lifestyle, our house, your jewelry, your designer, maternity clothes. Still, she said nothing. If this goes public, everything collapses. The company, the family name, everything my grandfather built. He finished his whiskey, set the glass down carefully. I need you to understand something, Cassandra. He stood, walked toward her. She forced herself not to flinch. You are part of this family now. Your fate is tied to ours. If I go down, you go down. I understand. Do you? His hand reached out, touched her cheek, the bruised cheek. Because sometimes I wonder if you truly appreciate what I have given you. The life, the status, the security. The irony of that word, security. From the man who made her fear for her life. I appreciate everything, Preston, he smiled. That charming smile. But his eyes stayed cold. Good, go to sleep, I have calls to make. He left the bedroom. The door clicked shut behind him. Cassie exhaled, her entire body trembling. She had become an expert at this, at reading his moods, at knowing when the danger had passed, at surviving one more night. She changed into her nightgown, climbed into bed, pulled the covers to her chin. Her phone was still in her clutch across the room. She could not risk checking it. Preston might come back, might see, might find the message from Marcus. So she lay in the dark, counting her breaths, counting her heartbeats, counting the kicks of her daughter. 7 more weeks. But Marcus said it had to be soon. Her hand found her belly, rose. She had decided months ago, secretly. If the baby was a girl, she would name her Rose, after her mother. The mother who had loved her unconditionally until a drunk driver stole both her parents 8 years ago. Rose kicked. I know, baby. We cannot stay. I know. The tears came then. Silent. Practiced. She had learned to cry without making a sound, without shaking the bed. Without alerting Preston, she cried for the woman she used to be, the kindergarten teacher who believed in happy endings, the girl who thought love conquered everything, the bride who walked down the aisle toward what she believed would last forever. That woman was gone, but maybe, just maybe, someone new could rise from the ashes. 3 days passed. Cassie moved through the house like a ghost, smiled when required, spoke when addressed, performed the role of perfect Whitmore wife, but inside, her mind was somewhere else entirely. She stood in the nursery, pale pink walls that Preston hated. He had wanted blue, had raged when she chose pink. But Eleanor intervened surprisingly, said pink was traditional, said a Whitmore nursery should have dignity, small victories. That was all she had. The crib was white with gold trim, antique. Eleanor's great-grandmother had slept in it. 5 generations of Whitmore babies, all boys until now. What would they do with a girl? Cassie touched the mobile above the crib. Crystal stars that matched the chandelier downstairs. Everything in this house matched. Everything coordinated. Everything was controlled. A memory surfaced, their wedding day. 3 years ago. She had been so happy, so naive. Preston in his custom tuxedo, the flowers, the music, 200 guests at the country club. Marcus could not attend. Deployed somewhere classified, he sent a video message that played at the rehearsal dinner. "Take care of my baby sister," he had said to Preston. "She is the only family I have left." Preston had smiled, charmed, promised. Lies, all lies. The first warning sign came 2 weeks into the honeymoon. They were in Bali. Paradise. She wanted to call Marcus and tell him about the beaches. Preston took her phone. "You do not need to talk to anyone but me now. I am your family." It seemed romantic at the time. Intense, passionate. It was isolation. He changed her emergency contact from Delia to himself, closed her individual bank account, put her on an allowance, took her name off the car title. One by one, the walls closed in, and she let them. Because she loved him, because he apologized every single time, because she had nowhere else to go. The first hit came 6 months later. She had burnt the roast, such a small thing, such a careless mistake. But Preston's face transformed. The charming mask dropped. Something dark surfaced. His hand across her face. The shock, the pain, the absolute disbelief. "I am so sorry." He was actually crying. "My father used to do this. I swore I never would. It will never happen again. Please, Cassandra, please forgive me." She forgave him. Naive. So devastatingly naive. The second time came 3 months later. She had spoken to a male colleague at a charity event. Just small talk. Nothing inappropriate. But Preston saw. Preston always saw. That night in the car, his hand around her throat. "Just for a moment, just a warning, do not embarrass me again." After that, she stopped speaking to men at events, stopped making eye contact, stopped being anything other than Preston's silent accessory. The third time, the fourth, the fifth. She lost count somewhere along the way. Lost herself too. Became someone she did not recognize. Someone who flinched at sudden movements. Someone who measured every word before speaking. Someone who checked windows for escape routes when they walked into a room. The pregnancy had not stopped the violence. It had made it worse. Preston wanted an heir, a boy, a Whitmore legacy. When the ultrasound showed a girl, he had punched the wall beside her head. Left a hole in the drywall. Eleanor had it patched without comment. After that, the hits came more frequently, but never to her stomach. Preston was careful, smart. He needed the baby. He simply did not need her. Cassie settled into the nursery rocking chair, the one she had imagined holding her daughter in, reading stories, singing lullabies, being the kind of mother her own mother had been. Could she do that here? In this house? With this man? No. The answer was clear. Had been clear for months. She could not protect Rose if she could not protect herself. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Marcus had set up a new contact system. Encrypted app. Untraceable. Package arrived. Check the garden shed. Third shelf, behind the fertilizer. Cassie's heart raced. She deleted the message. Waited an hour. Made sure Preston was in his office. Made sure Eleanor was at her bridge club. She walked to the garden, slowly, casually. Just a pregnant woman getting some fresh air. The shed smelled like soil and chemicals. Gardening tools hung on pegboards. Bags of mulch stacked in corners. Third shelf. Behind the fertilizer, a small black case. Medical supplies, a burner phone, and a folder. She opened the folder. Hospital records. 4 entries in 2 years, all from different emergency rooms across 3 counties. Entry 1. Broken wrist. Patient claims she fell while gardening. Entry 2. Concussion. Patient claims she walked into a door. Entry 3. Cracked rib. Patient claims she slipped in the bathtub. Entry 4. Multiple contusions, scalp laceration. Patient claims she tripped on stairs. The dates, the diagnoses, the excuses. She had blocked some of these from her memory. Trauma response? Maybe. Self-preservation. But seeing them listed in black and white, documented by medical professionals who had seen the truth and could do nothing, it broke something inside her. I have been lying to myself for 2 years. The realization crashed over her, wave after wave. She had minimized, rationalized, hoped it would improve. Hoped the baby would change things. The baby changed nothing. Except now there was another life at stake. Cassie sat on an overturned bucket, the garden shed surrounding her with tools and chemicals and the evidence of her own denial. She pulled out the burner phone. One contact, M. Her fingers hovered. She typed, "I am ready to listen." The response came within seconds. "Tonight, 2 a.m., kitchen, audio disabled, come alone." She deleted the messages, hid the phone in the bottom of her underwear drawer, the only place Preston never touched because handling women's undergarments disgusted him. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Dinner with Eleanor, small talk about baby names. Preston wanted William, Eleanor wanted Edward. They argued about Whitmore family tradition while Cassie pushed food around her plate. No one asked what she wanted. Preston left for a business dinner at 8. Cassie went to bed at 9. She set a silent alarm for 1:45. The hours crawled. She stared at the ceiling, listened to the house settle, counted Rose's movements. This could be real. This could actually work. She could escape. Or it could fail. Preston could find out, and then nothing would save her. At 1:45, she slipped out of bed, crept down the hallway, avoided the squeaky floorboard outside Eleanor's room, descended the stairs on the far left side where the steps were quieter. The kitchen was dark. She did not turn on any lights. Marcus emerged from the shadows. "Tell me everything," she whispered. For the next hour, he did. Marcus spread documents across the kitchen island. In the darkness, with only moonlight through the window, Cassie could barely read them. But her brother's voice was clear, steady, military precise. Safe house is 40 miles north. Rural property owned by a veterans organization I work with. Off the grid. No connection to the Whitmore name. How do I get there? We have 3 options. Option 1 is immediate extraction. I pull you out tonight, but that leaves evidence behind. Gives Preston time to shape the narrative. Maybe claim you abandoned the family. Option 2? Strategic departure. We gather more evidence. Document the abuse. Build a case so strong the Whitmores cannot buy their way out of it. And option 3? Marcus hesitated. You stay. Try to survive until after the birth. Get out with Rose. That is not an option. I know, but I had to put it on the table. Cassie looked at the documents. Legal forms, financial records, photographs she did not recognize. What are these, Em? Victor Sullivan's research. The lawyer who left the firm. Marcus pointed to a spreadsheet. See these figures? 17 million in foundation funds redirected into personal accounts. Tax evasion. Wire fraud. RICO violations. They are under investigation. They are. But the investigation is slow. Graham has connections. Preston has lawyers. They are stalling. But if we go public with what we have, combined with your domestic violence case, the pressure becomes unbearable. Cassie tried to process all of it. The scope, the complexity, the danger. If I do this, they will destroy me. They will try, but Cass, look at me. She looked up, her brother's eyes in the moonlight. The same eyes as their mother. You are already being destroyed. Day by day, hit by hit, the woman I knew, the woman who used to laugh so loud the neighbors complained, the woman who wanted to save the world one kindergartner at a time, that woman is disappearing, and if you stay here, she will be gone completely. Tears blurred her vision. He was right. She knew he was right. What about Rose? If I leave, Preston will fight for custody. Graham is a retired judge. They have resources I cannot come close to matching. That is where the financial crimes become critical. A father facing federal charges does not get custody. A family under RICO investigation does not get sympathy in family court. You have thought through everything. I have had 6 months to plan, and I have watched you, Cass, through cameras, through staff reports. I know what you have been living through. I know how close to the edge you are. She thought of the bathroom mirror, the blood in her hair, the bruises hidden by concealer, the falls that were not falls, the accidents that were not accidents. What do I need to do? Marcus pulled out a small device. This records audio, waterproof, adhesive back. Place it under the kitchen table, the study desk, the bedroom nightstand. Get him on record. If he finds it, he will not. It is military grade. same technology we use for intelligence gathering. And if he does? Marcus's jaw tightened. Then we move to immediate extraction, no matter what. Cassie took the device. So small, so dangerous. How do I contact you? The burner phone. Check it twice daily. Morning when you shower, night when Preston is in his office. If you need immediate help, text 911. I will be there in 3 minutes. 3 minutes? I have been sleeping in my car on the service road, close enough to respond, far enough to avoid suspicion. Her heart cracked open. Her brother sleeping in a car for weeks just to stay near her, just to keep her safe. Marcus, I do not know how to thank you. Do not thank me. Get out alive. That is all I need. A door closed somewhere in the house. Both of them froze. Footsteps. Eleanor using the bathroom. The toilet flushed. The footsteps retreated. Marcus exhaled slowly. We are running out of time. Do you understand the plan? Gather evidence. Document everything. Wait for your signal. And if things escalate before then, text 911. Good. He took her hands, squeezed them. I love you, Cass. I am sorry I was not here sooner. I am sorry I did not see it. How could you? I would not even let myself see it. He released her hands, stepped back toward the service entrance. One more thing. Delia is coming to visit tomorrow. Preston approved it because Eleanor mentioned something about baby shower planning. Delia is in on this? She is the one who called me. She has been sick with worry, playing along just to stay close to you. Cassie thought of all the lunches she had canceled, all the calls she had avoided. She had pushed Delia away to protect her, but Delia had been fighting to reach her the entire time. I do not deserve friends like you two. You deserve better than all of this. Marcus opened the service door. Tomorrow, Delia will fill you in on the rest. Stay strong. He disappeared into the darkness. Cassie stood alone in the kitchen, the recording device in her palm, the weight of the decision pressing down. She could do this. She had to do this. For Rose, for herself, for the woman she used to be. She crept back upstairs, returned to bed, and lay awake until dawn making plans. The next morning, Delia arrived at 10. Blonde hair, bright smile, nursing scrubs under her jacket because she had come straight from her shift. Cass. She hugged her carefully, mindful of the belly. You look amazing. Pregnancy really suits you. The words were for Eleanor, who watched from the doorway. The embrace was real. Delia's arms trembled slightly. Relief, fear, love. Let us go look at nursery fabrics, Cassie said. I need a second opinion. In the nursery, door closed. Delia dropped the performance entirely. God, Cassie, I have been so frightened for you. I know. I am sorry I pushed you away. I understood. I always understood. That is why I called Marcus. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me. Delia wiped her eyes. Never. You are my person, Cass. You have been my person since freshman year orientation, when you gave me half your sandwich because I forgot my meal card. A laugh escaped Cassie. Unexpected, genuine. She had not truly laughed in so long. So, Delia said, all business now. Marcus says you are in. Tell me what you need. They talked for 2 hours, covered the plan in detail. Delia would be Cassie's outside contact if something happened to Marcus. She had medical supplies stockpiled at her apartment. She had connections at the hospital who would document injuries without alerting Preston's network. One more thing. Delia pulled out a small card. Memorize this number. It is a domestic violence hotline that specializes in high-profile cases, funded by women who have survived powerful abusers. They have resources, safe houses, legal teams. If everything falls apart, call them. Cassie memorized the number, repeated it until it was etched into her memory. When are you going to move? Delia asked. Marcus wants more evidence. Maybe a week, maybe 2. Can you hold on that long? Cassie touched her belly. Rose kicked in response. I have to. Eleanor knocked on the door. Cassandra, Preston is home early. He wants to see you. Delia squeezed her hand. Call me anytime. I do not care if it is 3 in the morning. They emerged from the nursery, chatting about fabric swatches and baby shower themes. Preston stood at the bottom of the stairs. His eyes tracked them as they came down. Delia, nice to see you. You too, Preston. Thanks for letting me steal your wife for the afternoon. Of course. Family is important. His hand found Cassie's back, pressed a warning. Walk Delia out, darling, then meet me in my study. Cassie's blood went cold. The study, where discussions happened, where punishments were decided. She walked Delia to the door, hugged her goodbye. Be careful, Delia whispered. I will. The door closed. Cassie stood in the foyer, gathering her strength, settling her mask into place. Then she walked to the study. Whatever waited inside, she would survive it. She had to. The plan was already in motion. Help was already coming. She just had to hold on. Preston sat behind his mahogany desk. The study walls were lined with law books he had never read, diplomas from schools his father's money had purchased, photos of him shaking hands with politicians. Close the door, Cassie did. Sit. She sat. He stared at her for a long moment. The silence stretched. A technique he used in business negotiations. Make the other person uncomfortable. Make them speak first. Make them reveal weakness. She had learned not to speak first. Your friend Delia, he finally said. How often do you communicate with her? Just for baby shower planning, you saw the messages. I saw the messages you showed me. How many messages did you not show me? Her heart pounded, but her face stayed perfectly calm. There are no other messages, Preston. He opened his desk drawer, pulled out her phone. Then explain why there were 3 calls to an unknown number last month, each lasting approximately 30 seconds. The burner phone number, Marcus's encrypted contact. She had been so careful, but not careful enough. Telemarketer scams, she said. You know how they spoof numbers, I answered because I thought it might be the doctor's office. Preston studied her, searching for the lie. The baby is healthy? He asked. Yes. The last ultrasound showed normal development. And the gender? Still female? The way he said female, like a disappointment. Like a defect. Yes, still a girl. He stood, walked around the desk, positioned himself behind her chair. She forced herself not to tense, not to flinch, not to show fear. His hands settled on her shoulders, heavy, possessive. I have been thinking, he said. Perhaps a girl is not so terrible. Girls are easier to control, to shape. She will be a Whitmore through and through. His fingers dug into her muscles. Pain radiated down her arms. Unlike her mother, who appears to have divided loyalties. I have no divided loyalties, Preston. Then why are you lying to me about those phone calls? Think quickly. I am not lying. But if you do not believe me, check the phone records. Call the numbers yourself. You will see they are all spam. A gamble. Marcus had said the number could not be traced. She had to trust that. Preston's hands released her shoulders. He walked back around the desk, sat down. I will do that. Fine. And Cassandra. She met his eyes. If I discover you have been deceiving me, there will be consequences. For you, for the baby, for anyone helping you. The threat hung in the air, sharp and clear. I understand. Good. You are dismissed. She left the study, walked calmly to the bathroom, locked the door, and slid down the wall. Too close. That was far too close. She needed to be more careful. Needed to assume everything was being watched, everything monitored. Over the next week, she became a ghost. She planted the recording devices exactly where Marcus had instructed. Under the kitchen table, beneath Preston's desk while he was at work, under her own nightstand. She captured everything. Preston berating her for wearing the wrong color dress. Preston mocking her teaching career. Preston threatening to take the baby if she ever tried to leave. No one would believe you, he said one night, whiskey on his breath. A kindergarten teacher from nowhere against a Whitmore. My father is a judge. The police are in our pocket. You would lose everything. I know, she replied, playing along, recording every syllable. Eleanor's voice appeared on the recordings as well. Complicit, cruel. Preston is under stress. You need to manage him better. Perhaps if you lost some weight, he would be more attracted to you. Whitmore wives do not complain. They endure. Each recording was another brick in the wall. Another piece of evidence against Preston. Another step toward freedom. But the stress was taking its toll. At her weekly checkup, Dr. Henderson frowned at her blood pressure reading. It is elevated. Have you been under unusual strain? Just normal pregnancy stress. The doctor made a note. I am prescribing bed rest for the next week. Light activity only. No stress. No stress. In the Whitmore house. The irony was almost unbearable. Preston used the bed rest as another form of control. She was confined to the master bedroom, meals brought by the housekeeper, visitors banned because they would tire her. She could not see Marcus, could not reach Delia, could only lie in bed and watch her prison walls creep closer. On day 3 of bed rest, Preston came home in a rage. She heard him before she saw him. Doors slamming, his voice shouting at someone on the phone. This is unacceptable. I want those records sealed. I do not care what it costs. His footsteps on the stairs. Heavy, fast, furious. The bedroom door flew open. Did you know? He demanded. Know what? About the federal investigation expanding. Did someone tip you off? Preston, I have been in this bed for 3 days. I do not know anything. He crossed the room, grabbed her arm, pulled her upright. Do not lie to me. Someone leaked information. Someone inside this house. It was not me. I do not even know what information you are talking about. His hand closed around her throat. Not squeezing, not yet, just holding. Reminding her what he was capable of. The FBI served a subpoena today. They want all of our financial records. Someone directed them our way. His face was inches from hers. She could smell the whiskey on his breath, could see the vein pulsing in his temple. If I find out you had anything to do with this, I will make sure you never see that baby. I will tell everyone you are mentally unstable. I will have you committed. Do you understand? I understand. His hand released. She fell back onto the bed. Rest. I need you looking well for the charity luncheon next week. He left. The door slammed behind him. Cassie lay on the bed, shaking, her throat aching, her arm throbbing where he had grabbed her. She reached for her secret phone, hidden in the pillowcase. Text to Marcus. He is escalating, getting paranoid about the investigation. Marcus replied immediately. I know. We are speeding up the timeline. 2 days. Be ready. 2 days. She could survive 2 more days. But then another text came. Preston just fired the entire security team. All of them. I am out. The world tilted. Marcus was gone. Her safety net had vanished. She typed, what now? His response came back. Same plan. Different extraction point. I will be watching from outside the property. Stay near the exits. Keep the phone charged. Another text followed. I will not let anything happen to you, Cass. I promise. She deleted the messages, hid the phone, and lay in the dark counting the hours. 48 hours. 2 days. She could do this. She had to. Preston did not sleep in their bed that night or the next. He stayed in his study, making calls, destroying documents, preparing for battle. Cassie could hear him through the walls, shouting at lawyers, threatening employees, begging his father for help. The Whitmore empire was crumbling, and Preston was searching for someone to blame. On the second day, he found her in the nursery. You have been awfully quiet, he said from the doorway. Doctor's orders. Rest and relaxation. He stepped into the room and closed the door behind him. I have been thinking about our conversation, about loyalty. Cassie's grip tightened on the rocking chair arm. I have decided that you need to demonstrate your loyalty publicly. How? The charity luncheon is tomorrow. You will attend, you will smile. You will tell everyone how wonderful our marriage is, how excited we are for the baby, how the federal investigation is nothing but a misunderstanding. I can do that. And afterward, you will give an interview to Sarah Chen from the Society pages. She is writing a profile on Whitmore family values. You will participate with enthusiasm. Every instinct screamed danger, a public performance, a recorded interview, more lies to trap her further. Of course, Preston, whatever you need. He smiled, that cold smile that never reached his eyes. I knew you would understand. After all, you have nowhere else to go. No family except that brother who is never around. No friends who would believe you over me. No money that I have not personally given you. Each word was a blade, precise, calculated. You are mine, Cassandra. You have been mine since the day I married you. Nothing will ever change that. He left, The door clicked shut behind him. Cassie sat in the rocking chair, her whole body trembling. He was right. She had no one. Marcus was locked out. Delia was being watched. The police were bought. The courts were stacked. What possible chance did she have against all of that? The baby kicked. Hard. A protest. I know, Cassie whispered to her belly. I know. We have to try. She pulled out the burner phone. One text to Marcus. He wants me at a charity luncheon tomorrow. Public appearance, interview after. Marcus replied immediately. Perfect opportunity, public setting, witnesses. I will have extraction ready outside. When you are ready to go, tell me. I will create a distraction. You walk out. Walk out? Just walk away from 3 years of marriage? From the Whitmore name? From all of it? Could she actually do that? Another kick from Rose. Yes, she could. She typed, I am ready. Tomorrow. Marcus, I will be there. Stay strong, little sister. Little sister. He had called her that since she was born, even when she outgrew him by 2 inches in high school. Even when she thought she had outgrown needing him. She had never truly outgrown needing him. She had simply forgotten that needing people was not weakness. That night, Preston came to bed, drunk again. His hands moved over her in the dark. Not desire, possession. Claiming what was his. She lay still, let him, did not react. You are so cold these days, he murmured. So distant. Maybe after the baby comes, we will find that spark again. She said nothing. Or maybe I will find it somewhere else. The way you have let yourself go during this pregnancy, no man could be expected to stay faithful. Still nothing. Nothing to say? No fight left in you? Let him think she was broken. Let him believe he had won. Tomorrow, she would show him otherwise. He rolled over and fell asleep within minutes. Cassie lay awake, planning, preparing, rehearsing every detail. When she finally slept, she dreamed of her parents. Of her mother's voice saying, you are stronger than you know. Of her father's arms wrapping around her, holding her safe. She woke with tears on her pillow. But beneath the grief, something else stirred. Determination. Tomorrow would change everything. She just had to survive one more night. The charity luncheon was held at the Whitmore Country Club. White linen tablecloths, crystal stemware. 200 women in designer dresses pretending their lives were perfect. Cassie wore pale blue. Pearls that had belonged to Preston's grandmother. Makeup applied thick enough to hide the shadows beneath her eyes. Eleanor had approved the outfit. Acceptable, she said. Try not to waddle when you walk. Preston held her arm as they entered, smiling for the assembled crowd. The perfect couple. The expectant parents. Remember, he whispered. Devoted, happy, grateful. The luncheon passed in a blur of small talk and forced laughter. Women asked about the baby. About the nursery. About names. We are still deciding, Cassie said again and again. Such a significant decision. Sarah Chen appeared at 1:30, notebook ready. Recorder visible. Mrs. Whitmore, thank you so much for agreeing to this. My pleasure, Sarah. They found a quiet corner. Preston watched from across the room, never letting Cassie out of his sight. So, tell me, Sarah began, how would you describe your marriage? Blessed. Preston is an incredible husband, so supportive, especially during the pregnancy. The lies tasted like ash. And the baby? Are you hoping for a boy or a girl? We will be happy with a healthy baby. That is all any parent truly wants. More lies, more performance. There have been some reports about a federal investigation into the Whitmore Foundation's finances. Can you comment? Cassie's heart stuttered. That was not in the script. I am not involved in the business side of things. Preston handles all of that. I am certain any misunderstanding will be resolved quickly. Sarah's eyes sharpened. Some sources suggest the investigation involves significant financial irregularities. Are you concerned about what that might mean for your family? Across the room, Preston's smile had gone completely rigid. I trust my husband completely, Cassie said. Our family will be fine. Sarah made a note. One more question. Some staff members have raised concerns about your well-being, about possible issues at home. Would you like to address those reports? The world stopped. Someone had spoken up. One of the staff, one of the people who had witnessed the bruises, the falls, the fear. This was it. This was the moment. Cassie could deny everything. Play the devoted wife, protect the Whitmore image one last time. Or she could tell the truth. Preston was already moving toward them, his face a controlled mask of fury. 3 seconds to decide. She thought of Rose, of Marcus waiting somewhere outside, of the woman she used to be. Mrs. Whitmore, Sarah prompted. I need to use the restroom, Cassie said. She stood, her legs were shaking. Preston arrived at her side. Darling, is everything all right? Just the baby pressing. Excuse me. She walked toward the restroom. Steady steps, normal pace. Do not run. Do not draw attention. But she did not go to the restroom. She walked past it, down the hallway, toward the service exit. Her phone was already in her hand. Text to Marcus. Now, I am coming out the service exit. Response in 30 seconds. She pushed through the service door. Bright sunlight, a loading dock, delivery trucks. And Marcus standing beside a black sedan, door already open. Cass, come on. She ran as fast as her pregnant body could carry her. Every step an act of defiance, every breath a declaration of freedom. She reached the car. Marcus helped her inside and slammed the door. Behind them, shouting, Preston's voice. Cassandra, get back here. Marcus threw the car into gear. They pulled away just as Preston burst through the service door. Cassie watched him shrink in the rearview mirror, his face twisted with rage. His fists clenched. You are okay, Marcus said. You are safe. We are gone. She believed him. For the first time in 3 years, she genuinely believed she might actually be okay. But then the tears came. Not just relief, an overwhelming, crushing release. Everything she had held inside, every fear, every humiliation, every moment of sheer terror, it poured out of her in sobs that shook her whole body. Marcus drove with one hand and held her hand with the other. Let it out, Cass. Let all of it out. So she did. Miles passed. Towns blurred. And still she cried. For the woman she had been. For the woman she had become. For the woman she might someday be. Eventually the tears slowed. Her breathing steadied. Where are we going? She asked. Safe house. About 20 more miles. Preston will search for me. Let him search. He will not find you. His father has connections. Police, judges, everyone. His father is about to have much bigger problems. The FBI executed a search warrant at Whitmore headquarters an hour ago. The entire family is going down. Cassie absorbed this. The timing, the interview questions, the investigation. Did you leak information to the FBI? Marcus glanced at her. Victor Sullivan did. The lawyer who left the firm. He has been cooperating for 6 months building the case. Your escape today was timed to coincide with the search warrant. So Preston cannot come after you because he will be too busy defending himself. It was brilliant, Marcus. Military precision. A coordinated strike on every front. I had help. Delia, Victor, some friends from my unit. People who understand what abuse looks like and refuse to look the other way. She squeezed his hand. Thank you. I do not know how to ever repay you. Be happy. Raise that baby. Live the life you deserve. That is all the payment I need. The safe house came into view ahead. A farmhouse. White clapboard. Red barn. Fields spreading out in every direction. Normal. Peaceful. Everything the Whitmore estate was not. Marcus parked, helped her out. The front door opened. Delia stood there, arms wide. You made it! Oh my God! You actually made it! Cassie fell into her best friend's embrace. The second real hug she had received in 3 years. I made it, she whispered. I am free. Inside the farmhouse, more surprises waited. Victor Sullivan with his legal files. Nurse Jolene Crawford with medical supplies. A detective named Roy Brennan, who had driven from 2 counties away just to take her statement. Mrs. Whitmore, Brennan said. Or should I say Miss Thornton? Thornton, Cassie replied. I am taking my name back. He nodded, respectful, professional. I am going to need your full statement. Everything that happened, every incident, every threat. Can you do that? She looked around the room at the people who had risked everything to help her. Yes, I can do that. For the next 4 hours she talked, told them everything. The falls that were not falls, the broken bones, the threats, the isolation. Each word a weight lifted, each confession a chain broken. When she finally finished, Brennan closed his notebook. This is more than enough for charges: domestic battery, assault, false imprisonment. Combined with the financial crimes the FBI is already pursuing, Preston Whitmore is looking at serious prison time. What happens now? Now you rest. We handle the legal side. And when you are recovered, we go public. Go public? Her story, her shame, her survival. I am ready. Brennan smiled. I believe you are. That night, Cassie slept in a guest bedroom beneath a quilt made by someone's grandmother. The window had no bars. The door had no lock. Rose kicked steadily, a rhythm, a heartbeat. We made it, baby. We are safe. She closed her eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, she slept without fear. 6 weeks passed. Rose came early, 4 weeks early, as if she understood that waiting was no longer necessary. Labor lasted 12 hours. Delia held one hand, Marcus held the other, both of them crying long before the baby arrived. At 3:17 in the morning, Rose Margaret Thornton entered the world. 7 pounds, 4 ounces, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Her mother's auburn hair. She is perfect, the nurse said. Cassie looked at her daughter. This tiny person she had protected through everything. This life that had given her the courage to escape. Yes, she whispered. She is. The birth certificate read, Rose Margaret Thornton, no Whitmore, never Whitmore. Preston tried to contest it from jail. He was being held without bail after prosecutors demonstrated he was a flight risk with hidden assets overseas. His lawyer sent threatening letters. His mother sent more. Eleanor vowed to fight for grandparent visitation rights, to expose Cassie as an unfit mother, to destroy her reputation. The threats no longer landed. Cassie read them, filed them, and handed them to Victor Sullivan for documentation. Every letter is evidence of harassment, Victor said. They are building our case for us. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 8 weeks after Rose's birth. Cassie attended, Rose stayed with Delia. The courtroom was packed with reporters. The Whitmore scandal had gone national. Financial crimes, political corruption, domestic abuse. Every sordid detail splashed across headlines. Preston sat at the defense table, orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, his expensive lawyers flanking him. He looked at Cassie when she entered. His eyes still carried that cold rage, that possessive fury, but something else was there now. Something she had never once seen before. Fear. He was afraid of her. Good, she thought. Now you know what that feels like. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage from the estate, audio recordings from the devices Marcus had planted, medical records from 4 different hospitals, testimony from Charlotte Pruitt, Preston's own assistant, who had witnessed bruises and overheard threats. The judge denied bail again, set a trial date, ordered a comprehensive psychological evaluation. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Miss Thornton, how do you feel about facing your abuser? Mrs. Thornton, will you be seeking full custody? Miss Thornton, what is your message to other women in similar situations? Cassie stopped, looked directly into the cameras. My message is simple. You are not alone. You are not crazy, and it is never too late to leave. Victor pulled her away before more questions could come, but she had said what she needed to say. In the weeks that followed, women reached out, hundreds of them. Emails, letters, messages on social media. Thank you for telling your story. You gave me the courage to leave. I thought I was alone until I heard about you. Each message was a reminder. Her pain had purpose. Her survival had meaning. The trial began 6 months after her escape, 5 days of testimony, 5 days of reliving the worst moments of her life in full public view. Preston's defense was predictable. She was unstable. She was lying. She was after money. The evidence said otherwise. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, guilty on all counts: domestic battery, assault, false imprisonment, financial fraud, tax evasion. Sentencing: 15 years in federal prison. Cassie sat in the gallery with Rose in her arms. Her daughter would be 16 before her father was free, old enough to understand, old enough to decide for herself whether she wanted him in her life. That was justice enough. After the verdict, Eleanor Whitmore approached. For the first time, she looked genuinely old, broken. You have destroyed this family, she said. Cassie shifted Rose to her other hip. No, your son did that. You simply helped him. You will regret this when the money runs out. When you are struggling, you will wish you had stayed. The only thing I regret is not leaving sooner. Marcus appeared at her side. Silent, protective. Eleanor took one look at him and retreated. You okay? He asked. Better than okay. She looked around the courtroom, at Victor packing his files, at Detective Brennan shaking hands with the prosecutors, at Delia crying happy tears from the gallery, her team, her family, the people who had believed her when no one else would. 2 weeks later, Graham Whitmore requested a meeting. Cassie almost refused, but Victor encouraged her to hear him out. Know your enemies, he said. They met at a neutral location. A law office in the city. Graham looked like a man who had aged 20 years in 6 months. I made him this way, Graham said. His voice shook. I was hard on him. Harsh. I told myself it would make him strong. Cassie said nothing. My own father did the same to me. I told myself I would be different. He slid an envelope across the table. This is a trust fund for Rose, my personal money, nothing to do with Preston or the estate. I do not want your money, I know, but Rose did not choose any of this. She deserves something from this family that is not poison. Cassie looked at the envelope. $300,000 for her daughter's education, her future. I will think about it. It was not forgiveness, but it was something. 1 year after her escape, morning light filtered through the cotton curtains of Cassie's apartment. Not silk, not custom. Just simple white cotton from the clearance rack at Target. She had never loved curtains more. Rose sat in her high chair, systematically destroying a banana. Fruit was in her hair, on her cheeks, smeared across the tray. Approximately 3% had made it into her mouth. You are an artist, Cassie told her daughter. A banana artist. Rose responded by slapping both palms into the mush. Yellow splattered across Cassie's coffee cup. And that is my cue to get a new cup. She crossed to the kitchen sink, rinsed the cup, poured fresh coffee from the pot she had programmed to start at 6:30. Such a small thing, programming her own coffee maker. Choosing her own wake-up time. Preston had insisted on freshly ground beans prepared by the housekeeper at precisely 7:15. Not a minute earlier, not a minute later. Coffee was to be served in the breakfast room with the morning papers already sorted by relevance. Now Cassie drank grocery store medium roast from a chipped mug that read, World's Okayest Mom. Delia had given it as a joke. It had become her favorite possession. The apartment was small, 900 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that opened into the living room. The furniture was secondhand. The art on the walls came from Rose's daycare projects. It was perfect. Rose banged her sippy cup against the high chair tray. Mama, Mama, down. You want down? You want to spread banana chaos across my entire apartment? Down, please, please. She was saying please now, 18 months old and already more polite than Preston had ever been. Cassie lifted her daughter from the high chair, carried her to the bathroom. The morning cleanup ritual began. Warm washcloth, patient wiping. Rose squirming and protesting because being clean was apparently a personal offense. Hold still, you have fruit in your ear. No. No is your favorite word, is it not? No, Cassie laughed, actually laughed. The sound still surprised her sometimes. For 3 years, laughter had been performance, a noise she made because it was expected. Empty, hollow. Now it bubbled up without any warning, at Rose's antics, at Delia's jokes, at the absurdity of her own life. She had survived. More than survived. She was building something new. The doorbell rang at 8:15. Cassie checked the peephole. Still a habit, probably always would be. Delia stood in the hallway, 2 coffee cups in hand, a bakery bag tucked under her arm. I know you already have coffee, Delia said when Cassie opened the door. But I passed that new place on 5th Street and they had lavender lattes, and I simply could not resist. You are enabling my caffeine addiction. That is what best friends do. Delia swept into the apartment, set down the coffees, scooped up Rose. There is my favorite goddaughter. Did you destroy breakfast? Did you make mommy work for her morning? Rose grabbed a fistful of Delia's blonde hair. Dee Dee. That is right. Dee Dee brought you a muffin. Do not tell your mom it has chocolate chips. I can hear you, Cassie said. I know. I wanted you to hear me. Plausible deniability is for cowards. They settled on the couch. Rose on the floor with the muffin that was definitely going to create another cleanup situation. The lavender latte was surprisingly good. So, Delia said, big week. I know. The shelter dedication ceremony was 4 days away. A new wing at the crisis center where Cassie now volunteered twice a week. 12 additional beds, a children's play area, a legal services office. Anonymous donors had funded it, except the donors were not really anonymous. They were a network of abuse survivors who had rebuilt their lives and wanted to help others do the same. Cassie had connected them through her volunteer work, had helped coordinate the fundraising, had watched construction progress from foundation to finishing touches. They had asked her to speak at the dedication, to share her story publicly for the first time since the trial. Have you been practicing your speech? Every night after Rose goes to sleep, I recorded myself, listened back, made changes. And I cry every time I get to the part about Marcus. That is all right. Crying is human. The audience will cry right along with you. What if I cannot finish? What if I freeze? Delia reached over and squeezed her hand. Then you take a breath. You look at me in the front row. You remember that you have already done the hardest thing. You left. You testified. You rebuilt. A speech is nothing compared to all of that. Rose toddled over, muffin crumbs across her face. She climbed onto the couch and snuggled against Cassie's side. Mama sad? No, baby. Mama is not sad. Mama is just thinking about something important. Important? Yes, important. Rose considered this, then held out a soggy piece of muffin. The ultimate comfort gesture. Thank you, sweetheart. That is very generous. The morning passed in comfortable routine. Delia helped with laundry while Cassie prepped meals for the week. Rose napped. The apartment filled with the smell of chicken soup simmering on the stove. Domestic. Ordinary. Sacred. I received a letter from Eleanor yesterday, Cassie said while folding onesies. Delia looked up from matching socks. What did the dragon lady want? Grandparent visitation rights again. Her lawyer is claiming psychological harm from being denied access to her only grandchild. Her only grandchild whose mother she helped abuse? The letter does not mention that part. Delia made a sound of disgust. What did Victor say? He is filing a response. We have documented evidence of her complicity. The court already denied her once. He does not expect this attempt to succeed either. But it still bothers you. Cassie folded a tiny pair of pajamas, pink with yellow ducks. Rose's favorite. It is the audacity. After everything, after watching her son beat me for 3 years, after blaming me for his behavior, she believes she deserves access to my daughter. She believes she deserves a great many things. That does not mean she will get them. I know, but sometimes I wonder if it will ever stop. The letters, the legal filings, the attempts to control my life from a distance. Delia crossed the room, sat beside her on the bed. It might not stop. The Whitmores do not know how to lose gracefully. But here is what I know with absolute certainty. They cannot touch you anymore. Preston is in prison. Eleanor has no legal standing. Graham is too broken to fight. Graham asked to see Rose again. What did you say? I have not decided yet. This was the question that kept her awake at night. Graham Whitmore, the retired judge, the patriarch, the man who had shaped Preston through decades of harsh expectations and emotional cruelty. He had written 3 letters over the past year, each one apologetic, each one acknowledging his role in the cycle of abuse, each one asking for a chance to know his granddaughter. He seems different now, Cassie said slowly. Or he claims to be. The therapy he is attending, the work he is doing with domestic violence awareness organizations. It seems genuine. Seems and is are entirely different things. I know, but Rose did not choose any of this. She did not choose her father. She did not choose to be born into that family. If there is someone on the Whitmore side who could be healthy for her, do I not owe it to her to at least explore that? Delia was quiet for a long moment. You do not owe anyone anything, Cass. Not Graham, not Eleanor, not the Whitmore legacy. Your only obligation is to yourself and to Rose. But what about forgiveness? What about breaking cycles? Forgiveness does not mean access. You can forgive Graham for what he created without ever letting him near your daughter. Those are two entirely separate decisions. Rose stirred in the next room. Her post-nap babbling filtered through the monitor. She is awake, Cassie said. I should get her. Think about what I said. Whatever you decide about Graham, make sure it is what you want. Not what anyone pressures you into. Cassie nodded, went to retrieve her daughter, found Rose standing in her crib with her arms raised and her smile wide. Mama, up you go, sweet girl. She lifted Rose, held her close, breathed in the baby shampoo smell of her hair. This was what mattered. This small person, this love that asked nothing except presence and care. Whatever she decided about Graham, about Eleanor, about the entire Whitmore legacy, she would decide based on what was best for Rose. Not what was expected, not what was demanded, what was best. That was her power now, the power to choose. The days before the dedication ceremony moved quickly. Cassie finalized her speech, rehearsed until the words felt natural, tried on 3 different outfits before settling on a simple navy dress that made her feel strong. Marcus called the night before. Video chat from somewhere he was not permitted to name. You ready, little sister? As ready as I will ever be. You are going to be incredible. You know that, right? I know you think so. I know you will be. I have watched you survive things that would break most people. A speech is nothing. Rose climbed onto Cassie's lap and grabbed for the phone. Unca Mark. Hey, Rosie girl, you being good for mama? Good, good. That is my girl. Marcus's voice softened. Cass, I wish I could be there tomorrow. I know, but you are where you need to be. Does not make it easier, missing the big moments. You were there for the biggest moment. You got yourself out. Everything since then is a gift. He smiled. That familiar smile that reminded her of their father. I love you, Cass. Go knock them over tomorrow. Love you too. Stay safe. After the call, Cassie put Rose to bed, sang the lullaby, watched those tiny eyes flutter closed. Then she sat in the living room, speech notes in her lap, the apartment quiet around her. Tomorrow she would stand before 200 people, reporters, survivors, advocates. She would tell her story publicly, permanently. No more hiding, no more shame. The fear was there. It would always be there. But beneath it, something stronger. Pride in herself, in her survival, in the woman she was still becoming. The dedication ceremony was held in the courtyard of the crisis center. White chairs arranged in neat rows, a podium decorated with flowers, the new wing gleaming behind it. Cassie arrived early, checked the sound system, reviewed her notes one final time. Delia appeared at her elbow. How are you feeling? Terrified, nauseated, possibly both. Good, that means you care. The seats filled, familiar faces and strangers. Victor Sullivan in a gray suit. Detective Roy Brennan with his wife. Nurse Jolene Crawford, who had documented Cassie's injuries that first night. Charlotte Pruitt, Preston's former assistant, who had become an unexpected ally. And in the front row, Rose, in Delia's lap, wearing a yellow dress with flowers, completely unaware of the significance of this day. The director of the crisis center spoke first, thanked the donors, outlined the services the new wing would provide, cut the ribbon with oversized scissors. Then she turned to Cassie. And now I would like to introduce someone who has become an inspiration to our entire community. A survivor, an advocate, a mother. Please welcome Cassandra Thornton. Applause. Cassie walked to the podium, gripped the edges, looked out at the crowd. Thank you all for being here today. Her voice was steady, stronger than she had expected. A year ago, I was living in a 20,000 square foot mansion. I had designer clothes, expensive jewelry, a husband whose name opened every door in the city. She paused. I was also being beaten, controlled, isolated from everyone who might have helped me, told that I was worthless, that I deserved what was happening, that no one would ever believe me. The audience was completely still. I believed those lies for 3 years. 3 years of broken bones explained away as accidents. 3 years of bruises hidden under layers of makeup. 3 years of smiling at parties while calculating how quickly I could reach the nearest exit. She looked at Rose. Her daughter was playing with Delia's necklace, oblivious, innocent. Her daughter was playing with Delia's necklace. What changed? Someone saw me, really saw me. Not the performance I had perfected, not the mask I wore every single day. The terrified woman underneath. Her voice cracked slightly. She took a breath. My brother Marcus risked his career, his safety, everything he had to reach me. He embedded himself as a security guard in my husband's household. For 3 weeks, he watched, documented, and planned. When I was finally ready to leave, he was already there. Tears fell. She let them. My best friend Delia never stopped reaching out, even when I pushed her away, even when I met her calls with silence. She kept trying. She is the one who contacted Marcus. She is the reason I am standing here today. She found Delia's eyes, saw matching tears streaming down her cheeks. A nurse named Jolene documented my injuries when she could have simply looked the other way. A lawyer named Victor walked away from a powerful firm to pursue justice. A detective named Roy drove from 2 counties away to take my statement because the local police were compromised. Each name, each debt. I am not telling you this so you will admire me. I am not telling you this because I believe I am special. I am telling you this because I need you to understand something crucial. She gripped the podium harder. I could not have done it alone. No one can. Abuse thrives in isolation. It grows stronger when we are cut off from the people who love us. The first thing my abuser did was separate me from my support system. The last thing he ever expected was for that system to fight back. A murmur moved through the crowd, heads nodding. This new wing exists because of community. Because survivors reach back to help other survivors. Because people who had rebuilt their own lives wanted to make that rebuilding easier for others. She gestured to the building behind her. 12 more beds. A children's play area where children can simply be children while their mothers figure out their next steps. A legal services office so women do not have to navigate the court system entirely alone. Her voice strengthened. But buildings are just buildings. What matters is what happens inside them. The conversations, the support, the moment when a woman finally realizes she is not crazy, she is not stupid, she is not trapped. She looked directly into the cameras. If you are watching this and you are still in it, still living that nightmare, I need you to hear something. The hardest part is not leaving. The hardest part is admitting that you deserve to leave. The words settled over the crowd. You do deserve to leave. You deserve to live. You deserve to be more than someone's possession, more than someone's target. She stepped back from the podium. Thank you. Silence. 1 beat. 2. Then applause. A standing ovation. The sound washing over her like waves. Rose clapped too, not understanding why, just joining in, because everyone else was. Cassie stepped down from the platform. Delia met her halfway and embraced her fiercely. You did it! You were absolutely incredible. I cannot feel my legs. That is completely normal. Here, sit down. They found chairs. Rose transferred to Cassie's lap. The crowd began to circulate. People approached, shook her hand, offered their own stories. A woman in her 60s who had finally left her husband after 42 years. A young mother still in the shelter, still working out her next steps. A teenage girl, daughter of an abuser, trying to make sense of her family history. Each story, each connection, each reminder that she was not alone, had never truly been alone, even in the moments she felt most isolated. The reception lasted 2 hours. By the end, Cassie was emotionally exhausted, but also filled with something she struggled to name. Purpose. That was it. Purpose. Her pain now had meaning. Her story could help others. The worst chapter of her life could become a tool for genuine change. That night after Rose was in bed, Cassie sat on her small balcony. The city lights spread out below, so different from the manicured grounds of the Whitmore estate. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She tensed. Old habit. Then she read the message. Miss Thornton, my name is Sarah Chen. I am a journalist who covered your husband's trial. I watched your speech today and was deeply moved. I am working on a book about domestic violence in wealthy families, the hidden epidemic that nobody talks about. Would you be willing to be interviewed? Your story could help so many women who believe their circumstances make them immune to abuse. No pressure. I just wanted to reach out. Sarah Chen. The reporter whose questions at the charity luncheon had inadvertently triggered Cassie's escape. She stared at the message for a long time. A book, her story, in print, permanent. Available to anyone who needed it. Terrifying and necessary. She typed back, I would be interested in discussing it. Can we meet for coffee next week? The response came immediately. I would be honored. Thank you. Cassie set down her phone and looked at the stars visible through the city light. She was no longer running, no longer hiding, no longer just surviving. She was building, creating, contributing. The woman who had fled the Whitmore estate a year ago was gone. In her place stood someone new, someone stronger, someone with a purpose. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Graham's visit request to consider. Eleanor's legal maneuvering to navigate. Rose's endless energy to keep pace with. But tomorrow would also bring new possibilities. The book interview. More volunteer work. More connections with survivors who needed to know they were not alone. Life spreading out ahead of her. Uncertain, unpredictable, beautiful. She went inside, checked on Rose one more time, watched her daughter sleep. I am going to make you proud, she whispered. I am going to build a world where you never have to be afraid. Rose stirred, smiled in her sleep, dreaming of things Cassie would never know. But happy, safe, loved, that was enough. That was everything. 2 years after her escape, the classroom smelled like crayons and graham crackers. 22 kindergartners sat on the rainbow carpet, eyes fixed on Cassie as she held up a picture book. And then what happened to the caterpillar? She asked. 22 hands shot up. 22 voices competed to answer. It turned into a butterfly. It got wings. It flew away. Cassie smiled. That is right. The caterpillar changed. It became something new, something beautiful. Teacher Cassie, a small voice from the back. Emma, with her pigtails and missing front teeth. Do people change too? Like caterpillars? The question landed deeper than a 5-year-old could possibly know. Yes, Emma, people change too. Sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it is hard, but everyone has the ability to become something new. Even grown-ups, especially grown-ups. The bell rang. Organized chaos erupted as children gathered backpacks and lunchboxes. Parents appeared at the door. The end-of-day handoff began. See you tomorrow, friends. Remember, we are planting seeds in the garden tomorrow, so wear clothes that can get dirty. Cheers, hugs, sticky-fingered waves. When the last child was collected, Cassie sank into her desk chair. Exhaustion and satisfaction in equal measure. Teaching again. She had wondered whether she could, after everything. After the 3 years of isolation when Preston had made her quit. After the trial when her face appeared everywhere. After the book when her story became public. But the principal of Meadowbrook Elementary had called her personally, had read the book, had daughters of her own, had created a position specifically for Cassie. These children need teachers who understand that everyone deserves a second chance, Principal Martinez had said. Will you help them understand that? 2 years later, Cassie could not imagine being anywhere else. Her phone buzzed. A text from the daycare. Rose is asking when Mama is coming. She says she needs to show you something very important. Cassie smiled. Typed back, on my way. Tell her Mama cannot wait to see the very important thing. She gathered her bag, locked the classroom, walked through hallways decorated with student artwork. Caterpillars and butterflies everywhere. Inspired by that week's lesson, transformation, rebirth, becoming. Her therapist would call that meaningful coincidence. Cassie just called it life. The daycare was 3 blocks from the school, a deliberate choice. Close enough to walk, close enough to reach in an emergency. The paranoia had not fully disappeared. Maybe it never would, but she was learning to live alongside it. To acknowledge the fear without allowing it to control her. Rose spotted her through the window, pressed her face against the glass, waved wildly. Mama, Mama, look! Look what I made! Inside, Rose thrust a paper plate toward her. Glitter and pasta glued in abstract patterns. It is beautiful, sweetheart. What is it? It is you, Mama. See? That is your hair. She pointed to orange pasta. And that is your smile. Red glitter in a curved line. Cassie's throat tightened. It is the most beautiful me I have ever seen. I am going to put it on the refrigerator, right in the middle. That is exactly where it belongs. They walked home together, Rose's hand in hers. The September afternoon warm and golden, trees just beginning to turn. Rose chattered about her day, about Tyler, who put a crayon up his nose, about the new girl Madison, who did not have any friends yet, about the goldfish in the classroom tank that might be expecting babies. Mrs. Patterson says we might get baby fishies, Mama. How do fishies have babies? That is a wonderful question. We can look it up when we get home. I hope there is 1,000,000 babies. I want to name them all. 1,000,000 might be a lot of names to keep track of. I will make a list. The apartment building came into view. 3 stories, red brick, window boxes with flowers that the residents took turns watering. Home, still small, still secondhand furniture. But now covered in Rose's artwork, filled with Rose's toys, smelling like whatever Cassie had put in the slow cooker that morning. A life, a real, honest life built from scratch. Inside, they followed their afternoon routine. Snack, homework check, which for Rose meant showing Cassie the picture she had drawn. A little television time while Cassie started dinner. The chicken was nearly ready when the doorbell rang. Rose jumped up. I will get it. No, baby. We talked about this. Mama checks first. The peephole showed Delia and someone else, a man Cassie did not immediately recognize. She opened the door. Surprise! Delia held up a bottle of wine. I brought reinforcements, and also David, who happened to be at the wine store at the exact same time as me, which I am sure was total coincidence. David, the man from the park 6 months ago. He had asked her for coffee. She had said she was not ready. He had respected that, had not pushed, but they kept running into each other. At the park, at the school where his daughter Lily was in 1st grade, at the grocery store where they both apparently shopped on Sunday mornings. Coincidence or something else? Hi, Cassie. He held up a paper bag. I brought coloring books for Rose and Lily, if that is all right. She is in the car with my mom. Rose appeared at Cassie's side. Lily is here? Can she come play, Mama? Please, 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 please. Delia grinned. I think that is a yes. The evening unfolded in a way Cassie had not planned, had not expected. David's mother joined them, a warm woman named Barbara, who immediately bonded with Rose over a shared love of princess stories. Lily and Rose disappeared into Rose's room, emerging periodically for snacks and to display their coloring progress. David helped Cassie in the kitchen, chopping vegetables, setting the table, moving around each other with surprising ease. Your apartment is nice, he said, cozy. It is small, cozy. There is a difference. She handed him plates to set out. I did not realize you and Delia had become friends. We ran into each other a few times. She is very protective of you. She is my person. I know. She made that entirely clear, along with several detailed warnings about what would happen if I ever hurt you. Cassie almost dropped the salad bowl. She did not. She did. Very creative threats, too. Something involving a staple gun. I am going to kill her. Do not. I actually appreciated it. It is good that you have people looking out for you. He said it simply. Without agenda. Without the possessiveness that would have filled those same words from Preston. I did not always have that, Cassie said quietly. For a long time I had no one. I read your book. She looked up, met his eyes. I hope that is all right, he continued. I wanted to understand what you went through, what shaped who you are now. And I think you are the bravest person I have ever met. No one had ever called her brave before. Survivor, yes. Victim, unfortunately. Strong, sometimes. But never brave. I do not feel brave. I feel like I am just putting one foot in front of the other. That is precisely what bravery is. Keeping going when everything in you wants to stop. Delia appeared in the kitchen doorway, took in the scene and grinned. Dinner ready? The tiny humans are getting restless. The meal was loud and chaotic. Rose and Lily dominated the conversation with stories from their respective days. Barbara shared embarrassing stories from David's childhood. Delia orchestrated everything with the skill of a conductor. Cassie watched it all. This warmth, this connection, this feeling of belonging. She had forgotten what it felt like to be surrounded by people who wanted nothing from her except her presence. Who did not analyze every word she said, who did not punish her for imperfection. After dinner, David helped with dishes while Barbara read stories to the girls in the living room. Delia had conveniently vanished to check something in her car. She is not subtle, David said, passing Cassie a rinsed plate. Not even slightly. Do you mind? Cassie considered the question. really considered it. No, I do not mind, he smiled. That easy, uncalculated smile she had noticed at the park. No agenda behind it. No strategy. I know you said you were not ready for coffee 6 months ago. I am not trying to push, but I want you to know that whenever you are ready, if you ever are, I will still be here. Why? The question escaped before she could stop it. Too blunt, too raw. But David simply nodded as though he had expected it. Because you are remarkable. Because you have built this beautiful life out of ashes. Because when I see you with Rose, I see the kind of mother I would want Lily to look up to. He dried his hands on a towel. And because I genuinely enjoy talking with you, you are honest, direct. You do not play games. After my divorce, I thought I would never trust anyone again. But something about you makes me think that maybe trust is still possible. Cassie's heart pounded. Fear and hope in equal measure. I am not fully healed, she said. I still have nightmares. I still check doors 3 times. I still panic when someone raises their voice unexpectedly. I know. I might never be fully healed. That is all right. None of us are. We are all just managing our damage as best we can. From the living room, Rose's laughter rang out, bright, innocent, unafraid. Can I think about it? Cassie asked. The coffee? Take all the time you need. I am not going anywhere. He meant it. She could tell. Not the way Preston had meant things, with conditions and expectations hiding underneath every promise. David meant it plainly, honestly. Maybe that was what trust looked like when it was real. The evening ended with hugs and promises to do it all again soon. Rose fell asleep in Cassie's arms while saying goodbye to Lily. David carried his own sleeping daughter to the car. At the door, he paused. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for coming, and for the coloring books. Rose will be occupied for weeks. That was the plan. He smiled. Good night, Cassie. Good night, David. She watched him walk to his car, watched him secure Lily in her car seat, watched him drive away. Then she carried Rose to bed, changed her into pajamas without waking her, tucked her in with the stuffed elephant Marcus had sent from his last deployment. Sweet dreams, baby girl. Delia was waiting in the living room when Cassie came out. So nothing happened. But something could happen, if you wanted it to. Cassie settled onto the couch and pulled her knees to her chest. He seems good. He is good. I ran a full background check. Military service. Clean record. His ex-wife left him for someone else. No red flags whatsoever. You ran a background check? Of course I did. I am not letting anyone near you without vetting them first. Cassie should have been annoyed. She was just grateful. What do you think I should do? I think you should do whatever feels right. Not what anyone else wants. What you want. What if I do not know what I want yet? Delia moved closer and took her hand. Then you take your time figuring it out. There is no deadline, no pressure. You have spent so long living on someone else's schedule. Now you get to set your own. Tears pricked Cassie's eyes. 2 years of freedom and she still cried at unexpected kindnesses. What if I mess it up? What if I trust the wrong person again? Then you will deal with it. You will survive. You have survived far worse. And I will be right here with my staple gun, ready to defend your honor. A laugh escaped her. Wet and wobbly, but real. I love you, Delia. I love you too. Now go to sleep. Tomorrow is a school day. After Delia left, Cassie walked through the apartment, checking the locks. A habit, a necessity, part of who she was now. She paused at Rose's door and watched her daughter sleep. Peaceful. Safe. This was what she had fought for. This quiet moment, this ordinary life. She went to her own room, changed into pajamas, climbed into bed. Her phone showed a text from Marcus. Thinking of you. Saw some photos from the shelter dedication online. You looked incredible. Proud of you, little sister. She typed back. Missing you. Come home soon. His reply. Working on it. Kiss Rosie for me. She would. Tomorrow morning, every morning. Sleep came slowly, but not from fear. It came slowly because of possibility. David. The book interview with Sarah Chen. The shelter expansion she was helping to plan. The kindergartners who needed her patience and encouragement. A future spreading out before her, full of uncertainty, full of potential. 2 years ago, she had fled a mansion with nothing but her daughter in her arms. Now she had a home, a career, friends who would fight for her. Maybe, someday, love again. The woman in the mirror was someone she recognized, someone she liked, someone she was proud of, not because of what had happened to her, but because of what she had done with it. The last thought before sleep: I am not who I was. I am not who he tried to make me. I am who I choose to be. And tomorrow she would choose again. 3 months later, the coffee shop was warm against the December cold. Holiday music played softly. Garlands hung from the ceiling. Cassie wrapped her hands around her mug. Across the table, David did the same. So, he said, this is coffee. This is coffee. 3 months of building, of trust, of slow, careful steps towards something new. They had taken Rose and Lily to the zoo, to the park, to a puppet show that had made both girls scream with delight and both parents wince at the volume. They had talked about everything and about nothing, about the ordinary texture of daily life. And tonight, for the first time, they were alone, just the two of them, on what might officially be called a date. You are nervous, David observed. A little. Me too. Really? Really. I keep worrying I will say the wrong thing. That I will somehow ruin this, Cassie smiled. I have had that exact same worry every single day for the past 3 months. And yet here we are. Here we are. He reached across the table. His hand hovered near hers. Asking permission, she took his hand, felt the warmth of his fingers, the gentle weight of connection. I want to tell you something, he said, and I want you to know it comes with no expectations and no pressure. Okay, I am falling in love with you. The words settled between them. Simple. True. You do not have to say it back, he continued. I know you may not be there yet, but I needed you to know. I have been holding it in for weeks, and it was starting to affect my blood pressure. A laugh escaped her. Surprised, delighted. I am scared, she admitted. I know. The last time I fell in love, it nearly destroyed me. I know that too, but she took a breath. I am starting to think that being scared is not a reason to stop. It is just information, something to be aware of while I keep moving forward. David squeezed her hand. That sounds like something a very wise person would say. My therapist. She is worth every penny. Remind me to send her a thank you card. They sat together, hands intertwined, the coffee going cold. I am not ready to say it back, Cassie said finally. The actual words, but I am ready to be here with you, figuring out what this could become. That is enough. That is more than enough. And I want you to meet Marcus when he comes home from deployment. He is going to interrogate you far worse than Delia did. David laughed. I have been warned. Barbara bought me a book on surviving Navy SEAL intimidation tactics. There is a book? Probably not. But it makes a great story. She laughed again. Really laughed. The sound filled the coffee shop. A few other patrons glanced over, smiling at the unmistakable happiness coming from their corner booth. This was new. This was terrifying. This was wonderful. Outside, snow began to fall, fat flakes drifting past the window. The first snow of the season. Rose is going to lose her mind tomorrow, Cassie said. She has been asking about snow for weeks. Lily, too. We should take them to the park, build snowmen. A pause. He caught himself. Sorry. Too much? No. Cassie smiled. Not too much, just right. They finished their coffee, left the shop, and walked out into the falling snow. At her car, David paused. Can I? He asked, gesturing carefully. Can you, what? Kiss you. I have wanted to ask all evening, but I kept losing my nerve. Her heart raced. Fear and anticipation wound together. Yes. He stepped closer, slowly, giving her time. His hand cupped her cheek, gentle, so incredibly gentle. The kiss was soft, brief, perfect. When he pulled back, his eyes searched hers. Okay? More than okay, he smiled. That easy smile she had come to love. Good night, Cassie. Good night, David. She drove home through the snow, singing along to the radio, her cheeks aching from smiling. At the apartment, she relieved the babysitter, checked on Rose, found her sleeping peacefully, unaware that the world had shifted while she dreamed. Cassie stood at her daughter's door, watching, remembering, 3 years of darkness, 2 years of rebuilding, and now, finally, light. She had not planned this life, had not dared to picture it, had not believed it was truly possible. But here it was, imperfect, uncertain, beautiful. She went to bed, slept without dreams, and woke to Rose jumping on her mattress. "Mama, Mama, snow, there is snow." "I see, baby, I see." They stood at the window together, watching the white world outside. Rose pressed against the glass, leaving tiny handprints. "Can we build a snowman? Can we? Can we?" "We can. We are going to meet some friends at the park." "What friends?" "David and Lily. Do you remember them?" Rose's face lit up completely. "Lily! I love Lily. She is my best friend." "I thought Emma was your best friend." "I have lots of best friends, Mama. There is room for everyone." Cassie hugged her daughter close. Tight, grateful. "You are absolutely right, sweetheart. There is room for everyone." There was. In her life, in her heart, room for all of it, the fear and the hope, the past and the future, the pain she had survived and the joy she was building. Room for everything she had been and everything she was still becoming. The snow kept falling, Rose kept laughing. And somewhere in the city, a man who was falling in love with her was probably teaching his daughter to make snow angels. This was her life now, not perfect, not certain, not guaranteed, but hers. Fully, completely, finally. And that was everything. And so Cassie's story ends, not with revenge, but with something far more powerful. Freedom. A daughter who will never know fear. A future built from ashes. And the knowledge that surviving is only ever the beginning. If this story touched your heart, if you found yourself holding your breath, cheering for Cassie, crying right along with her, I need to ask you something. Think about the women in your life. Your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friend. 1 in 4 women experiences domestic violence. That means someone you love may be living their own version of this nightmare right now. Sharing this story could reach them, could show them they are not alone, could be the voice that says what they desperately need to hear. You deserve to leave. You deserve to live. So if you have not already, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Leave a comment telling me what moment moved you most. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Every like helps this story reach another woman who may be trapped. Every share could be the lifeline someone has been searching for. Thank you for staying until the very end. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being part of this community. Until next time, remember, you are stronger than you know, you are braver than you believe, and you are never, ever alone.